And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Two of the most popular games, card games, in existence are Hearts and Spades. And I think Microsoft really helped that out along, since you can play those, they're on the internet. Lots of people like playing them both. Well, Northstar Games, who are most known for their party games, Say Anything or Wits and Wagers, they're coming out with the next one in this series. Not really, but this one says, clubs have always been underrated. What does it say in the back there? The suit of clubs finally gets some respect. And so we have clubs. This is a very simple trick-taking / ladder climbing game. Let me show you how it's played. Clubs is a trick-taking game, although it's actually more of a ladder-climbing game than it is a trick-taking game. What does that mean? Well, first of all, realize that the game comes with your 4 typical suits, although the colors are different. You have your hearts, spades, diamonds, and clubs. Clubs are a different color than the rest because they are points in this game. You're going to deal out cards to each player, 10 cards to each player. It's a 60 card deck. The cards do not have any royalty, rather they just go from 1 to 15. And on the sides of the card shows how many, this is 14 hearts. Well, therefore there are 14 hearts there. I thought that was a nice touch. One person is chosen to lead, and what that person will do is they can play a card from their hand. And everyone else, the next person must play a higher card or pass. They don't have to play a card, they can just choose to pass, but they can keep playing, and this will keep going till everyone but one person has passed, or until one person's played a 15, which is the highest card. Whoever wins the trick will take all the cards in that trick. Hopefully they're taking cards with point values. However, you are not stuck to just playing one card when it's your turn. Instead, you can play a run of cards. I can play this 8 and 9 together, which means the next person would have to play a 9, 10, a 10, 11, 11, 12, 12, 13, 13, 14, or a 14, 15. If they can't do that, in this case they can, they play a 10, 11, and we keep going around the table, but everyone has to play the same kind of thing I just played. So if I played a run of 2 cards, everybody else would have to play a run of 2 cards. If I play 3 of a kind, everyone else has to play 3 of a kind. So you can play 1 of a kind, 2 of a kind, 3 of a kind, 4 of a kind, or you can play 2 cards, run, 3 cards, 4 cards, 5 cards, etc. You keep going and doing this. Whoever wins the trick gets to lead the next trick, and they can play any card in their hand. When you go out, which means all the cards in your hand are gone, there's a stack of bonus point cards in the middle, and you will take one of those. Now that stack is equal to the number of players in the game, and the last person to go out gets 0 points, and their clubs don't score any points. It says, don't worry, you'll get them next round. Well, not if you're a good player. You also get points for any clubs that you have taken, and the lower the club number is, for example, the 1 of clubs is worth 5 points, while the 15 of clubs is worth only 1 point. You will mark all your scores down and then deal them out and go through another round. Okay, so that's how you play a round, and you just play as many rounds as you want, or you can play, the rules suggest going till someone gets to 50 points. There's also a variant, which I highly recommend, where 15s are wilds, or you can play what this game calls crazy clubs. Woo, woo, woo. Crazy clubs basically means you can always play more than the other person played. For example, if I play a 14, well then I can play 3 11s, and that's better because it's more cards, and that's basically the difference there. And so anyway, that's the game. Clubs is a very entertaining game. It's going to be on a simpler level than maybe a lot of trick-taking ladder climbing games. The ladder climbing game that people like to talk about the most is often Teach You. This game is certainly a lot simpler than Teach You. There's a lot less things going on, but I think that's a good thing in this respect because this is kind of a learning game. This is a game that anybody can play, and that's the goal that Northstar has always gone for in their games, and you can see it here. In fact, they separated out the crazy clubs and the variants, and to me, I would have just thrown all that in, and in fact, I do throw all that in. I like the game. I like the fact that taking clubs gets you points and you're trying to go out, so there's two different things you're trying to do. If there was anything I did not like about the game, I did not like the fact that unless you're playing a 6-player game, not all the cards are handed out. That drives me nuts because that means there's gaps, it's not a perfect knowledge game, and yes, I'm a big fan of randomness in games, but at the same time, I was, in a trick-taking game, I like to know if the 4 of clubs has been played or not at any point. That's not a big deal, and I think this game certainly has an audience. If you like ladder climbing games, I would say this is certainly one you want to try before you buy, but if you like trick-taking games, you should certainly give this one a whirl, and if you know people and you want to get them into games, this is really a good choice. It's bright, it's colorful, it's easy to play, it's easy to teach, and so there you have it. Will this ever overtake the popularity of Hearts and Spades? Probably doubtful, but it's certainly making a valiant effort. Clubs.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at DicetowerNews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!